My name's Jane Plum, and I'm Chief Exec of the charity Group B Strep Support. Group B Strep is the most common cause of severe infection in newborn babies, including septicemia, meningitis, pneumonia. It's very preventable, but in the UK, sadly, we're not very good at preventing these infections. So the charity was set up in 1996 to improve the prevention of these infections and ultimately to eradicate them from the UK.
And I'm Oliver Plum. I'm the charity's campaigns and fundraising officer. This is the charity's first successful bid for CIF funding. It was recommended to us by the local council voluntary service.
With the funding, we purchased additional office furniture, 4 desks, 4 chairs to go with the desks, and on top of that we also bought 2 computers and a printer. We've been able to take on more volunteers, and we've been able to not only use the volunteers for our purposes so that they can help the charity achieve its aims, but it's also meant we've been able to help volunteers in terms of office practices and learning about what goes on in an office, ultimately to help them work in other environments too.
The charity aims to eradicate group strep infection in babies, and having extra volunteers as part of the team just amplifies what we're able to do.
We currently have 5 volunteers who come in every week on certain set times. And in total this year they are averaging about 80 hours a month in terms of the time that they give to us, which is fabulous. Before we had the CIF funding, we had 1 regular volunteer that was coming in. So with the CIF funding, it's enabled us to expand and have 4 additional volunteers who have been invaluable in helping us do what we do.
The County Council CIF funding scheme is different in that the application process for the public meeting itself is much more transparent than most grant applications. You get immediate feedback in the room from the councillors on their decision, why they've approved the funding, and what their decision-making process was.
What's great about that meeting is it gives the councillors the opportunity to ask questions that perhaps haven't been addressed as fully or in the application, or that sometimes in an application what's said raises another question. So it gives the opportunity to have that discussion and explore areas that aren't necessarily as clear as we thought they were when we wrote the application. So it's a great process.
Our local county councillor was very supportive of our application. He was happy to endorse our application, and he's since come in and met some of the volunteers and had a look around the office and what we've been able to do with the equipment provided.
It was a great opportunity for us to talk to them more about what we're doing and what the long-term objectives are, and we could discuss other avenues that we could develop our work locally, which was fabulous. At the meeting where we were awarded the full funding that we had asked for, both the chair and one of the councillors gave their personal endorsement for what we were doing and how important it was. And they also invited us back to come to a meeting after we'd received the funding and got it in situ, so that we could talk to a later meeting about what a difference it had made.